Hey guys, this is Lifer Maniac, and I'm going to show you guys today my, as you might see, my weevil underwood character deck profile for the orichalcos arc. Yeah, what can we reveal about weevil underwood into this special segment? First of all, it is greedy, you might say, sinister and duelist. Structure of his character are gaining the upper hand slowly on him as he sees what the spell card of the orichalcos is able to do, along with his very close friend and companion raptor. They all the time following Yugi, then later on together with on the plane, and then first, and then together with Duke Devlin, then later on to Industrial Illusions. First, they are going following them on plane into the Duelist Kingdom, where they hope to bump into Pegasus, but he's not there. And then, as they change the place, Yugi and his companions, then Raptor and weevil underwood try to follow them again. And then, after all the things they witness, ultimately finding its peak in the defeat of Yugi against Rafael, one of the main characters of this arc, and yeah, first and foremost best duelist, I would claim, of the group of Dartz men. They eventually conclude that with the power of the orichalcos they can overwhelm all the other duelist opponents and become one of the best duelists in all of the world. So they practically having the aim to join the group of Dartz, giving even the risk of losing their souls, and then they, as Raphael tries to flee along with the helicopter of his companions, they jump onto it and then ultimately being drawn into the command central of Dartz, and then they pass the test. They have to take the orichalcos stone, and they finally succeeding by catching it. So they become part of his gang, and I have to operate and set on the scene from Dartz against Yugi, Muto and his companion in order to defeating them and ultimately taking their souls from them. They are on the other side of the segment, you might say, or on the other team, the team namely of the three chosen ones from the legendary dragons arc, which are defending the free world against the forces of the orichalcos. So, weevil underwood is commanded by Dartz to fight against not Yugi but Atem, as Yugi's soul has already gone and put under the wall where the great leviathan just has to take it. And Rex Raptor eventually has to face Joey Wheeler in all-out revenge, taking his soul and also of course taking his revenge for his loss in the duelist kingdom. And in Weevil, Underwood's place, of course, also it's a type of revenge against yugi, which he did lose to also in the duelist kingdom. To make a short story long story short, we tap into the character deck. Now, in the Battle City as well as in the Duelist Kingdom era, Weevil has the strategy based around this petite and great moth, and then later on in the Battle City also added is the insect queen. It's a combination of these two tactics, but here it is another tactic which of course includes this insect queen, but still has other values and mechanics as well. So let's dive into it and let's begin. Of course, as his first boss monster, we have the insect queen. Insect queen is of course his most powerful and iconic card, I have to admit. Then I put one, and to set it out from the start, this deck and the orichalcos era is not sufficient to sustain a full, complete deck which requires at least 40 cards. They were shown just few, so I had to add many more from other arcs as well. As of course there are anime exclusive cards which I fully exchanged with other monster, spell and shop cards. Yeah, which work accordingly or maybe similarly or even better. So I put also in there as another boss monster the Hercules duel, which I thought he played out in the Duelist Kingdom with 1,500 attack, 1 tribute but 2,000 defense. Yeah, one of the significant cards as well, but really showing off the lack of the TCG company to take more cards from the anime. They have, I think, the poison butterfly, which doesn't exist in TCG yet. I exchanged them for these two, which is gruesome moth with 1,000. I think the stats were 1,800 and 2,300, as well as the poison butterfly in the anime had, and also from the terms of artwork looks similar. Then also I've added primitive butterfly, which also has one tribute, but yeah. It looks also very similar and has a name which includes the main butterfly, so I thought that would be appropriate. But the effects might come practical as well. For example, the gruesome moth has the effect that just one monster card per turn can be by either player special summon, so it has a special summon negate effect for not only you but also your opponent. And the primitive butterfly works like that. It has one requires regularly 1 tribute, but if you have no monsters or do not control any monsters, you can special summon it from your hand, and once per turn, if the levels of all insect type monsters which you have recently under control are leveled up by 1. So as base, the monster cards base are outlined around these 4 mainly, but there are a couple of others which I will now present to you guys. And the Speed Rail Battle City box, they came out a couple of them, which I think also appropriate. But also I have to add the insect princess around this 4-line bay. I have the insect princess, which requires also 1 tribute, but has 1900 effect, but has a very cunning 10e effect, which works like that. If you have all insect type monsters which your opponent controls, have to change into attack position, and if this card destroys one insect type monster, then it gains 500 attack. This card is also for that reason significant, because the main lines of strategy and methods are outlined around a spell and a trap card, namely insect barrier and DNA operation. I will come to them later, and then I will outline why the insect princess works very good with them as well. Then, and like I already said, there were many other cards. But first of all, I'm going to present you which cards were also in the orichalcos arc, which he possessed and also played out. There was, for example, Legul, which he had with the spell card. He multiplied it, then you had 2, so I put 2 in there, which is obviously very logical. Another card which he played out into this arc I have to explain, of course, the effect of Legul, but Legul has the ability to attack your opponent's left points directly, so that's all about it. But also, he has the monster Kiseitai, which is not an exact type monster, one of his few monsters which are not an exact type monster, which were working like that. If your monster of your opponent are in face down defense position, if your opponent attacks one monster of you which is in defense position set, then this card and the Kiseitai becomes an equipped spell card, and is equipped to that attacking monster of your opponent. And then you each time of your standby phases, you get life points equal to the half of the monster which is equipped by this one. Yeah, so it's very, of course, life gaining convenient effect. So there you go, Kiseitai. And then I have an editing card which he not had in his deck, but yeah, you might imagine it would be in his deck, but he had another example of it in his genes, and he put it out from his genes and showed it to Atem, and proclaimed the soul of Yugi would be in this card. And as Atem didn't say please in order to set Yugi free, which of course Weevil was just fooling around with him, then he broke it into 2 pieces and told Atem that Yugi is now lost forever. And that very card was Gokibori. With 1200 attack and 1400 defense, a normal monster, but yeah, of course I think he had another example of this one in his deck, yeah. Then further on, I put in there a card which I'm not sure whether he had this card and this specific order of deck, or if he had it in another deck profile of himself, which is also a non-insect type monster, Prickle Fairy, which works like that. If your opponent cannot attack any insect type monsters, and if they discard battles with another monster at the end of the damage step, you can change the other monster to defense position. Yeah. With 2000 defense, it's not that bad of an effect for Prickle Fairy, and it's, like I said, in first and foremost, non-insect type monsters, a plant type, except for Kisetai, of course, which is another one. Then there were a couple of other cards, I think one or two other monster cards which he had. One of them was the Pheromonon Wisp, I think it was called. And another one, so I thought, yeah, in the Streets of Battle City deck, there were a couple of other monster cards shown in the weevil section, so I thought it might be appropriate if I put these in there also. But before we come to them, I show you a couple of cards which I put in there, which he had, but in the other arcs, like Flying Kamakiri number 1, Flying Kamakiri number 2, Parasite, of course, with the effect that you if it's placed face up, your opponent gets it is put into your opponent's deck, and if it is drawn by him by this effect, you have to special summon a defense position. If you do, the opponent takes 1000 damage, and all monsters controlled by the player that summon this card with its effect become insect type monsters. So this card works also very well with another card which I will review to you guys very soon. Then, yeah, I also put in there you might say, futuristic type of this parasite, which is called Parasite Paranoid, and has a quick effect. You can target one face-up monster on the field, equip this card from your hand to that target. The equipped monster becomes an insect monster, cannot attack insect monsters. Also, its effects that activate by targeting insect monsters are negated. You can only use this effect of Parasite Paranoid once per turn. If this equipped card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one level 7 or higher insect monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. So it's a very handy card for you. As a quick counter effect, you might say, counter defensive effect. Yeah, it's a triple effect, you might say. First, you can equip it to a monster, then the monster cannot attack any insect type monsters. It becomes an insect type monster himself, and if it is this Paranoid, for example, is destroyed, then you can special summon one level 7 or higher insect type monster. The Queen, for example, is level 7, so yeah, it's very handy for that also. Then I put in there Cockroach Knight, which he played out in the Battle City arc, and it has a very practical effect. Of course, if it's destroyed, you can put it on the top on the top of your deck. Further on, Insect Soldiers of the Sky, which works with wind type monsters. It has 1000 attack. And it is attack stats are increased every time it battles a wind monster by 1000 points, so it's not that bad. Then also a card which was from the Battle City section, drawn or pulled, you might say. and that one is Pinch Hopper, which has also 1000 attack or 1200 defense, and if it's destroyed, you can special summon one insect type monster from your hand. And then I put in there a monster card which works really good with the parasite, which is Drill Bug. If this Drill Bug puts battle damage to your opponent, you can take the parasite from his deck on the top of his deck. So if it, you have to, of course, play out this first, and if it's in his deck, then you can play out the other one if he has not already drawn this one. Then this is what I call consistency. The cards have to have support one another, otherwise it doesn't make that much sense. Then I'm coming to the very cards I was talking about from the Speed Battle Duel City arc. The first of all, before comes.But and the Tim Dueling Heroes, there was the a card which was also an insect type monster, and I thought it has a good effect. And it's called Smoke Mosquito, and its effect goes like that. During damage calculation, if you take battle damage from your opponent's monster's attack, it's a quick effect. You can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, the damage you take from that battle is halved. Very good defense measure, of course. And then also at the battle phase of damage step, you can target one face-up monster you control. This card's level becomes the same as that monster until the end of this turn. It's a one turn condition. You just can use once per turn. There we go, Mosquito. And accordingly to that name, I have also, now we're coming really regularly to the Speed Duel Battle City cards, Magnetic Mosquitoes, which has a flip effect and destroys all machine type monsters. So if your opponent has a machine type based deck, then you can take this card as a trump card, of course. Then further on, I have the Howling Insect, which has also a good effect. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to graveyard, you can special one insect monster with 1500 attack or less from your deck. Also good turn special summoning possibility. Sorry, I have to switch the camera a little bit. There we go. Better. And so, Smoke Mosquito, the Cockroach Knight, the Flying Chemical number 1, and the Kizei-Tai, of course. Yeah, here, like I said, the Magnetic Mosquito, as I call it. Yeah. Purple Fairy, and of course Legul. Yeah, let's go on, guys. I also have in there the reversible Beetle, which also has a flip effect, 1100 attack, 1500 defense. Shuffle this card and then you face up monster in its column into the decks. If this card is normal or special summoned, change this card and any monsters in its column to face down defense position. You can only use each effect of a resolvable Beetle once per turn. So yeah, it's very If your opponent has a build up and a strong monster board, then it could be happen that you take one of his monsters, strong attack position monsters with you, or maybe strong defense position monsters, and then if you put it from the deck back onto the field, then it has a good defense measure of my opinion, and is a good option to get you back to the attack if you draw it again, and then you can put one of the opponent's monsters into face defense position, which might be a strong one, for example. so they're resolvable beetle. Then I have the cross-sword beetle, which has good, strong attack stats, 1800 attack, 1200 defense. And if its effect works like that, while you control another insect monster, if an insect monster you control attacks a defensive position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. So that's a good build-up for attack as well. Then I have also a card which has very strong attack stats. The Chainsaw Insect, which 4 stars and 2400 attack, but very few defense, namely 0. If this effect works like that, if this card battle at the end of the damage step, your opponent draws 1 card. So yeah, it has also a downside, and you have to admit it. Last but not least, he has the monster Resonance Insect, a 4-star insect type monster, which has the effect, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 5 or higher insect monster from your deck to your hand. And if this card is banished, you can send 1 insect monster from your deck to the graveyard, except Resonance Insect. So you have also graveyard effect in this card, which is not that bad. Now, this onto his monster cards finally. Now we're coming to his spell card, which in the anime he didn't play out that very much of them. I will let the insect princess out for stars, as I have to explain his main strategy of weevil's deck. Namely, right on, he had as first of his spell cards in the outline one of the key central cards of his deck, the insect barrier, which has the ability to prohibit from any insect type monsters to attack. And this card works with another card, but yeah, like I said, you will see what I mean if I'm finished. But first of all, I will take out a card which works with the parasite tactics, very good, as well as the drill bug, namely the jade insect whistle. It has the effect, if your opponent has to select 1 insect type monster from his deck. After shuffling, they place the card on the top of his deck. Now we insinuate that most of the people don't have insect type monsters, any one at all whatsoever in their decks. So if you have the parasite played out, and then you can activate this card, it works very similar to the drill bug. If you don't have drill bug on your hand or in the field, then you can of course bring that strategy into play with the jade insect whistle. Then and is a good measure of increasing attack points, of course, is one very classic Duelist Kingdom card, namely field spell card, which is of course Forest, which increases the attack position of attack stats of all insect type monsters, as well I think as plant and beasts and beast warrior by 200, and also the attack, also the defense stats, 200 attack and 200 defense. Then, and I have also working additional to that, increasing power, monster power attacks strategy, which is of course the laser cannon, which of course also was in the Battle City arc, in the Duelist Kingdom arc, and you can equip it. It's an equip spell card to 1 monster from the type insect. With this card, it gains 300 attack and 300 defense. Then, and as a staple, I do have Monster Reborn. Put Monster Reborn to that deck. Then I put in there a spell card which works with the level up and level down methods. You have to tribute one monster. It's called insect imitation. You have to tribute one monster, and then you can special summon one insect monster from your deck, which has a level 1 point higher than the tribute monster. There we go. Insect imitation. Then I have a card which is a good recycling option 2 times in there, namely the Verdant Sanctuary, which is a permanent spell card, and if one of your insect type monsters is destroyed by battle or in card effect and put to the graveyard, the controller of the card can add one insect type monster from with the equal levels as the destroyed one from the deck to his hand. This might destroy another strategy of you, but it doesn't, and I will explain it to you later, or just a few minutes. Then I have also Eradicating Aerosol, which destroys all insect type monsters on the field. 2 very good spell cards which have a good defensive measure, a countermeasure, which is Warm Nutrient and Multiplication of Ants. Now, multiplication of ants and worm breed works like that. You can special summon 2 worm play marks. And you can't special summon or summon any monsters with level 3 or 4 as normal, or special summon that turn. And the multiplication of ants, you can special summon 1 army ant tokens with 500 attack and 1200 defense. And these tokens cannot be tributed for tribute summon, but these can, but they just have 0 attack and 0 defense in comparison to that one, which has 500. They have 500 attack and 1200 defense. Now, the main trap cards and the main key central strategy of this deck, these were the spell cards, but I will now explain it to you guys. These are the spell cards, but outlined about the DNA surgery. I put in there 2 times. You can call 1 tribute of a monster, and all the opponent's monsters become that attribute of monsters. For example, if you say your opponent's monsters must have the attribute being an insect type monster or a plant type monster, they become that attribute, all of them, which are currently on the field. And as that card is a continuous trap card, it's always like that. Then you can play out the insect barrier, which prevents all insect type monsters from attacking your opponent from attacking, just from the opponent. Yeah, so he or she cannot attack anymore. He has an insect type monster just on the field, and they cannot attack. Then insect princess, of course, works like that. If it destroys all insect type monsters which your opponent controls, are put into the attack position. So it gives you time to draw that much cards, or to get your strong monsters onto the field in a matter of time, and then to attack your opponent. He or she cannot put their monsters onto the defense position because of the effect of insect princess in the defense position, and they will have to be also always in the attack position. And as they are all insect type monsters, it works. And he or she cannot attack from his stance or from his initiation. So yeah, he's also prohibited, or she is prohibited from attacking also. Then you have the Green Sanctuary, which works like that. If if a open insect type monster is destroyed by battle or by a card effect and put to the graveyard, his controller can take one insect type monster from with this equal level as the destroyed one from his deck to his hand. You might say, oh, that could coincide with this strategy and cross it in a negative way, but it doesn't, because your opponent does not have any or it is very unusual that he or she has an deck type monster, and it would be even a positive advantage if you, for example, the parasite would be one of the cards which you put also in his deck by its effect, but hasn't drawn until yet, and then he has to draw it then maybe, for example, or put it onto his hand by this effect, so it might come even in handy. But that about the main strategy. About the key strategy of the weevil underwood, of course. Back to the trap cards. I have put in there also a trap card which also has the effect to special summon tokens as a defensive measure. 3 tokens, which is spider egg. And I put in there, he had I think a trap card which was anime exclusive and it was called Dividing Cell, and it, I think, works similar to cloning, so I put cloning in there as an exchange. But cloning makes a copy from the opponent's monster, and you sell dividing cell makes I think a copy of your monster that you currently control. I also put in there, because there was another trap card which was enemy exclusive, I put in there Butterfly Yoke, which looks like an equip card. When the opponent's monster declares an attack, target the attacking monster, change that target to defense position, and if you do, equip this card to that monster. Once per turn, during either plays main phase or battle phase, you can change the equipped monster's battle position. It's a very good card also. And last but not least, I have, I don't know how it is called in English, I did forget about it. It's gruesome skin or something like that, which works like that. You can choose one exact type monster which you control, equip it also, like that one is also equipped, but just a monster card from the opponent instead. This card, you have to equip one of your cards with it, monster, exact type monster cards. As long as you, as the equipped monster card, you control the equipped monster card, monster of your opponent cannot attack any exact type monsters, except for the one which is equipped by this card effect. As long as this card is equipped to a monster every time of your opponent, normal or special monster, or if a card or effect activates, you have to put a counter of every open monster which he or she controls, and every monster that he or she controls loses 100 attack and defense for every counter that is available on the field from this effect. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. It was very I had a couple of concentration matters, as you might realize, and yeah, but still I enjoyed it very much. Hit the like and the subscribe button and stay tuned for more content. We are finally getting very close on concluding this era. I think Rex Raptor is left on the devious evil side, Raphael, and at any time of course Dartz. And on the other side I think it's just Joey Wheeler, if I'm not being mistaken. Yeah, as I said, Velen I think won't be coming very soon. It will take very long time, as Dartz also. So if you count it that way, or if you take that into account, then I have to regard the whole situation in different ways, which means that in the direct conclusion, just 3 decks left, and if I put them up or did upload them, then we are finally finished, and then we are coming to the championship arc. Yeah. The steps are getting higher in the stakes also. So, this was this. I liked it, and also love the new playmat. I don't know what you guys think about it, but yeah. As I of course have a special segment for it, I will be then also make the playmat of the week out of this one. This was this. I hope you guys have a nice evening and sleep well. Your Slav Maniac. Bye!